I'm Kevin Sutherland, I'm the Islay Group Manager. So I'm responsible for the two distilleries we have on Islay, Killeala and Lagavulin, and also the maltings here at Port Ellen. Maltings is the first stage in making the excellent whisky that we make on Islay. It's the key step in terms of turning barley into malted barley, essentially providing that essential raw ingredient for the distiller.
I'm Betty Brown, I work in Port Ellen Maltings. I've been working here for 20 years. Before I was in Port Ellen Maltings, I used to be farming. I was farming for a good number of years.
Hi, my name's John MacDonald. I've been working with Diageo for 14 years. I started my career with Diageo in Killeala Distillery, and I moved from Killeala Distillery in 2001 to work in Port Ellen Maltings. I decided to come to Port Ellen Maltings because Whisky's a famous thing in Islay, but to get that famous whisky you need a good famous malt, and Port Ellen Maltings is a place that makes the best malt. Islay whiskies wouldn't be whisky without Port Ellen malt in it.
Maltings process is essentially 3 stages. First step is steeping, takes about 2 days. Essentially what we're trying to do there is activate the enzymes in the barley. You could say it's a bit like making the barley think it's springtime. It starts to grow, and once it's started to grow, we move it on into the germination drums. Germination drums are the next stage in the process, where the barley keeps growing for about 4.5 days. Once the barley's reached that point, essentially all of the protein cell walls have been broken down. It's a little packet of starch that's just ideal for the distiller, and we want to stop it growing any further at that stage. And we do that by drying it. That's where the magic of Islay starts to happen, because when we dry it, we also burn a peat fire that creates a lot of smoke that provides that peat smoke flavour to the malt, and that flows through to the glass.
You're here in the steep room in Islay. The barley that's in here, it comes in here to Islay through the barley boats. We take it in barley boats to Islay to Port Ellen Pier. We take it from Port Ellen Pier up here to the maltings, and it's usually in kind of dormancy period. So what we're wanting to do here, we're wanting to make the barley into malt for the distilleries in Islay. So we take it in here, we take it into the silos. Quite simply, we take it up here, and what we're wanting to do here, we're wanting to steep it and get it to start germinating. So if you're in layman's terms, what you're wanting to do here, it's like you take seeds and you want to plant it in your garden, and you want to get it rain, sunny, etc. You want to get your seed to grow. That's all we're doing here. We're just trying to get the seed to grow. The water we actually got in here, it's kind of very peaty coloured water. It's very brown. It comes from our own lochs, Lagavulin lochs, which are about 3 mile away. This is the grain after its first day kind of in the steep. As you can see there, it's not really done a lot. It's still quite hard, it's quite firm. But at this stage, all we're really wanting to do, you really want to get the water through the endosperm, and you really want to take this moisture here up to roughly 30% moisture. Well, this is the final part of the steeping process. This will be the grain now after roughly just about 41, 42 hours. So it's been here. So at this stage now, we've wet and we've dried it, like 3 different wettings and drying stages. It's been dry 3 times. So now the enzymes and the proteins should be working, they should be breaking down that cell wall. So all we're wanting now, we're wanting the wee heads to appear in the grain, which is just starting to shoot. We're wanting to go and see the cell wall broken down to know it's ready. So this is a stage I'll show you. As you can see there's the grain now with all the heads on it. So that's it starting to grow. That's it, just like your wee flower in your garden, or your wee seed that you've just grown, and you're seeing the rootlets and that starting to come through the earth. That's all we've done here. So artificially all we've done, we've really started the growing process, get it going, and the cell wall, as you can see, it's nice and soft. It's a lot softer now. You can nearly burst it now. So that means the enzymes and the proteins are working, and all we want to do is get in at the starch inside. So the process now is, it'll sit here now, we'll dry it now, we'll drain it, and it'll be drained for a couple of hours. Then what we'll do, we'll drop it down now into the germination drums.
This is the drum room, and this is where the barley that comes out of the steeps, germinated, goes into the drums to be germinated. 51 tonnes goes into each drum, and we have 7 drums here in Port Ellen Maltings. The grain in the drum comes down from the steeps, goes into the drums, and it's in there for 4 days. And every day we lift a sample, check moistures, and check the quality of the growth of the malt, so that the rootlets will start growing in the grain, and that way the starches will be building up inside the grain, and we get the quality of the malt we want. Okay, we've got a sample here, it's 4 days old, ready to go to kiln, but before we do that, we'll do what's called the maltman's rub. This is what the old boys used to do. This is a way of checking that the grain is now ready to go to the kiln. So when I can rub out all the white in my hand, I'm just left with the husks there, like that. After 4 days, the grain that's in here is then called green malt, and it's transferred from here into conveyors that's below the drum, taken along, elevated up and dropped into whichever kiln we're going to be using.
My name's Neil McGill. I work normally in Lagavulin distillery and also part of the time at Port Ellen Maltings. This is Kiln Passage at Port Ellen Maltings. We've got 3 kilns. At the moment burning kiln 2 and burning approximately 6 tonnes of peats per kiln to provide the smoke into the malt. What we're looking for here is good smoke like that burning in the fire. We don't want the flames burning through. It's smoke we're looking for, it's not heat. We're not trying to dry the kiln with the fire, we're just trying to provide the smoke. We dry the kiln from 45% moisture down to 5% moisture with the oil burner over and above the peat fire. That's what dries the malt. The fire is controlled also by the fan, which draws the smoke up through the kiln bed to control the drying process.
I'm Hamish Bunker. I'm the operations manager at Port Ellen Maltings. We're currently standing in a kiln, and this is where we dry the germinated barley. The drying process is carried out by large volumes of air heated by an oil burner. So this air rushes through and dries the germinated malt. The peat smoke is introduced into this hot air that's coming up to dry the malt. So there's a peat fire. The peat reek is introduced into the airstream that's drying the malt, and the wet malt is very receptive to the uptake of phenol. So the peat reek, the smoke, if you like, is coming through the malt bed with the hot air and out the chimney. So that's how the peat smoke actually attaches itself to the malted barley. After the 26 hours, we strip the then dried malt from here, and it's dressed because all the little rootlets and some of the husk break off. So we dress it out, put it in a silo, and it's ready to go to the distilleries.